our distinguished panelists, our fellow educators, and some of our parents. Welcome to the parent panel of Wellington College Hangzhou of the EdFest event of 2024 to 25. As educators, innovators, and parents, we stand at a pivotal moment where artificial intelligence almost reshapes every industry, from education to healthcare to life science to humanities. The question remains, in the torrent of technology, what will remain as the core competency that AI cannot replicate? What will it be? To answer that, today we are very honored to be joined by 4 fellow innovators from our Hangzhou parent communities. Let me introduce our distinguished panelists today. We have Professor Imre Gallenbosch, Emeritus Professor at the University of Cambridge, Qiu Shi Distinguished Professor at Zhejiang University. Welcome. And we have the Dr. Luya Li, Founder and CEO of Angel Lexo Scientific Hangzhou. Welcome. We have Dr. Ron Xu, CSO of Dylanix, Bioworks, and CureVax. Welcome, Dr. Xu. And we have Dr. Luke Zhao, founder and CEO of Cento Therapeutics. And my name is Alice Wang. I'm the moderator of today. I'm the deputy head of primary at HEBA Academy Hangzhou. Together, our panelists will illuminate the pathway forward. Let's begin with Dr. Luke Zhao, whose insight in biotech will set the stage for our discussion. So, Dr. Luke, in the biotech industry, what skills do you think the talents need to master, and how do schools cultivate these skills?
Thanks, Alice, and thanks for Wellington College Hangzhou to invite me to be here. Before I share my experience, and I want to clarify, I'm not the parents of the Wellington. I'm the parent to be, not yet. So. And also, I'm not the expert in artificial intelligence. My wife had a PhD in AI, but I wasn't. I had a PhD in biochemistry. I had 25 years in the UK. To answer the question, biotech is quite different industry. Basically, it need very expertise, some specialized skills, but also needed some common skills. For the common skill, that's something we say is the transfer skill. Basically, is communication skill, team working skill. That's something I think is really important for the children. But for the specialized skill, it's also important. I think the children needed to understand they not just learning knowledge from the school, they also needed to be a good person, needed to be a socialized person, someone I would say is unique and also have their own character. I think under the pressure of AI or in the new challenge of the AI, if the children wanted to be the scientist, to be the life scientist, and to be the working in the biotech industry, they needed to have PhD level education, which is crucial. Because if you don't have a PhD, even you are master degree, you not reach to that kind of level, that level of the knowledge. It's really important because I talked to a lot of people, some of our colleagues, some of our employees. It's harder to communicate if they don't understand the basic knowledge. So I encourage the students at Wellington to go deep to the knowledge. It's just not something you can learn on the every day. So something is really specialized. So they needed to, of course, all the children's different, And but some children, some people, some kids, they really like biology because it's the question of life science. So if they really like the subject, I encourage them to spend more time learning the basic life science technology. For example, the code for DNA is ATGC. It's slightly different to binary code 0 and 1. So they need to spend more time to learn this kind of knowledge. But again, the transfer of skill is also really important. I don't want them to study alone. I want them to become a team. So the communication skill and also being very socialized is really important too. So that two part, I hope this, yeah, that's something, you know, the children and also the school, the education system could realize is really important for our children. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Zhou. A round of applause, please. Thank you. I think your perspective really highlights the importance of the balance of having the basic skills, the more transferable skills, and the specialized skills in a certain subject. We all say you can do whatever you want, find your passion, but you still need to have a PhD to get into your company, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So to follow up with that question, what do you think are the current gaps of the talents in your field, in your company, and how do you think schools can cultivate those skills?
Yeah. So we actually initiate a program with Wellington, Hangzhou to give after-school course or essay course, isn't it? To provide the opportunity to our students in our lab to do some so-called wet lab experiments. Life science and biotech is very different because that's something we call experiment, something you have to do by your own. I think that the personal experience is extremely important because now we have a lot of AI. What AI really good at is to answer the question, okay? But to search a result, to use your own hand to get the experience, it's not something AI.
Our distinguished panelists, our fellow educators, and some of our parents. Welcome to the parent panel of Wellington College Hangzhou of the EdFest event of 2024 to 25. As educators, innovators, and parents, we stand at a pivotal moment where artificial intelligence almost reshapes every industry, from education to healthcare to life science to humanities. The question remains, in the torrent of technology, what will remain as the core competency that AI cannot replicate? What will it be? To answer that, today we are very honored to be joined by 4 fellow innovators from our Hangzhou parent communities. Let me introduce our distinguished panelists today. We have Professor Imre Gallenbosch, Emeritus Professor at the University of Cambridge, Qiu Shi Distinguished Professor at Zhejiang University. Welcome. And we have the Dr. Luya Li, Founder and CEO of Angel Lexo Scientific Hangzhou. Welcome. We have Dr. Ron Xu, CSO of Dylanix, Bioworks, and CureVax. Welcome, Dr. Xu. And we have Dr. Luke Zhao, Founder and CEO of Cento Therapeutics. And my name is Alice Wang. I'm the moderator of today. I'm the Deputy Head of Primary at HEBA Academy Hangzhou. Together, our panelists will illuminate the pathway forward. Let's begin with Dr. Luke Zhao, whose insight in biotech will set the stage for our discussion. So, Dr. Luke, in the biotech industry, what skills do you think the talents need to master, and how do schools cultivate these skills?
Thanks, Alice, and thanks for Wellington College Hangzhou to invite me to be here. Before I share my experience, and I want to clarify, I'm not the parents of the Wellington. I'm the parent to be Not yet. So, and also I'm not the expert in artificial intelligence. My wife had a PhD in AI, but I wasn't. So I, I had a PhD in biochemistry. I had 25 years in the UK. To answer the question, biotech is quite different industry. Basically, it need very experts, expertise, some specialized skills, but also needed some common skills. For the common skill, that's something we say is the transfer skill. Basically, is communication skill, team working skill. That's something I think is really important for the children. But for the specialized skill, it's also important. I think the children needed to understand they not just learning knowledge from the school, they also needed to be a good person, needed to be a socialized person, someone I would say is unique and also have their own character. I think under the pressure of AI or in the new challenge of the AI, for if the children wanted to be the scientist, to be the life scientist, and to be the working in the biotech industry, they needed to have PhD level education, which is crucial. Because if you don't have a PhD, even your master degree, you not reach to that kind of level, that level of the knowledge. It's really important because I talked to a lot of people, some of our colleagues, some of our employees. It's harder to communicate if they don't understand the basic knowledge. So I encourage the students at Wellington to go deep to the knowledge. It's just not something you can learn on the every day. So something is really specialized. So they needed to, of course, all the children's different, but some children, some people, some kids, they really like biology because it's the question of life science. So if they really like the subject, I encourage them to spend more time learning the basic life science technology. For example, the code for DNA is ATGC. It's slightly different to binary code 0 and 1. So they need to spend more time to learn this kind of knowledge. But again, the transfer skill is also really important. I don't want them to study alone. I want them to become a team. So the communication skill and also being very socialized is really important too. So that two part, I hope that's something the children and also the school, the education system could realize is really important for our children. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Zhou. A round of applause, please. Thank you. I think your perspective really highlights the importance of the balance of having the basic skills, the more transferable skills, and the specialized skills in a certain subject. We all say you can do whatever you want, find your passion, but you still need to have a PhD to get into your company, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So to follow up with that question, what do you think are the current gaps of the talents in your field, in your company, and how do you think schools can cultivate those skills?
Yeah. We actually initiate a program with Wellington Hangzhou to give after-school course or essay course, isn't it? To provide the opportunity to our students in our lab to do some so-called wet lab experiments. Life science and biotech is very different because that's something we call experiment, something you have to do by your own. I think that the personal experience is extremely important because now we have a lot of AI. What AI really good at is to answer the question, okay? But to search a result, to use your own hand to get the experience, it's not something AI can provide to you. So that's something I think our lab could fill in the gap for the conventional education system, because I don't think any school will build up a modernized laboratory. You don't have to. Yeah. So there's lots of small companies like ours could provide you some extra laboratory equipment. For example, there's a machine called a PCR machine. Not every school needed to have that. But our lab got that because this is a basic equipment for our own research discovery program. So I think if Wellington College could leverage our facility, that's something could be really helpful. So all the students are really encouraged to go to our lab to do some experiment, whether it's DNA extraction or it's a PCR reaction. So that kind of thing, once they done by their own hands, it's a lifelong experience. They remember this for their whole lifetime. So that's something really important. So I think if we could, make this program successful, then I think that something really interesting. So then all the children could say, oh, that's something, it's very, encouraging them. And also for some students, they might go to Cambridge, they might go to Harvard, overseas to study life science, biotech. Then they could have a very useful personal experience. That's something couldn't really get from their curriculum. That's something I think could be useful once they apply for a PhD degree. Yeah.
We cannot talk. We cannot continue this conversation without talking about PhD degree now.
I'm sorry.
But thank you very much for an insightful perspective. Yeah. The process of exploration is never this important in the face of AI. Yeah. So I think your insightful perspective really highlights the importance of the pupils doing things by themselves, of the thinking process. Yeah. And you also highlight the importance of the cooperation between schools and other industries that opens a whole new world for pupils. Thank you very much. Yeah. Now let's shift into Dr. Luya Li, whose insight on healthcare will illuminate the way forward. So Dr. Luya Li, as an expert in the medical technology and industry and science behind that, how do you think AI will transform the future of healthcare? And how should schools prepare students for these changes?
That's a very good question. Before answering the question, I would introduce a little bit about myself. I have a PhD in robotics. I've been doing life science or specifically medical device for 20 years. Now, actually, AI has been reshaping our healthcare or even our daily life. Nowadays, if you go to hospital, let's talk about healthcare, how AI affected our healthcare system and experience now. Nowadays, if you go to hospital, if you get your CT scan imaging and or MRI imaging, and then the diagnosis will be done by the AI most likely, especially for if you go to big hospitals, and at least AI nowadays act as a main role in the AI diagnosis, and you can probably you already noticed that there's some robots used for for surgery. And nowadays it's for the there's Da Vinci was employed in the medical system since I think it's 2002. Yeah. Nowadays in China, we have many. I mean, maybe so many like companies. They are making like a surgical robotics systems, and and another application for AI and robotics is for the rehabilitation application, and that's what I'm doing now. And I have a startup company in Hangzhou. It's been running for like since 2017. In the last 8 years, we come up with some like a AI, like a plus robot plus brain science, those like basic principles, and we have 7 products now, and 5 of them is going through the like a breakthrough approval, like in China, and one of them one of them is breakthrough approval in the States. So that's nowadays we experience a lot of different things, like the AI has been the big role, like affect our lives now, and for our kids, I think most importantly is that we need to get the AI literacy like into our education system. I could teach the kids what is AI and what AI can do and what we cannot do, and how we can work with AI together, right? And in the future, our kids they're gonna face a different world, and probably we can imagine like 10 years later, but what about 20 years later, 30 years later, right? Our kids still they're still have to fight for their own like career, right? And but nowadays we have to equip them to go longer and to have a better life in the next 30 years, 40 years, right? So just like the education is very important. We've been through that education, ourselves. So that's why I highly encourage our school, have those courses, into the daily education, and teaching them AI and how we gonna work with the AI.
Thank you. A round of applause, please. Thank you very much for insightful perspectives. But we can rest assured that in Wellington College, China, all of our schools have already embedded AI literacy in every school, every stage. So from EY1 all the way to sixth form, AI literacy, the adaptability to the new technologies, not only AI, but who knows what will come up in 10 years' time. So we need to equip our pupils not only with the skills that they're using today, but also the adaptability that they will be using tomorrow. So thank you very much for that. And with that in mind, Dr. Li, your background was in robotics, but now you have 7 products sold to countries all over the world, which is very successful and promising. So you must be really good at fixing complicated problems. So what do you think we should equip with our pupils if they want to solve even more complicated problems in the future?
Yes, AI powered products actually is related to like a different like a education training in different field. So like if you want to form a team like to do like our product, now we need we need education from mechanical engineering, from computer, from hardware, software, artificial intelligence, and even like a game, right? Even the computer games, because we need an interface to for the patients or for the users to communicate with the device. So we need all different discipline to form the team. That's why our team is fairly big, because if you want to researcher and development for a product, you need at least like 10 people to get together to work together. So that's why in education purposes, most importantly is teach the kids to be working as a team member, right? As a team member, and plus and most likely, and our kids, especially in Wellington, and these kids, and most likely in the future they're going to be the leader of institution or team, right? So that's why leadership and a teamwork experiences were very important, and skills, right? That's something like we need to get them ready when they get out from school, even like right after high school, and not necessary to go to university, but most likely gonna go to university, right? But university as well, like teamwork experience, leadership experience is very important, and that'll be good for their life. And secondly, I think for in the education, and we need to teach the kids how to work with AI, how to work with maybe they treat the AI now elementary level. Now they treat the AI as a toy, right? They treat it as a toy. They pretty much like a as a toy to play with the AI, right? But it's a very good start point. Like even now at work, like for example, I do my documentations now. I do with DeepSeek or Kimi, or I have like 6 or 7 of them, like tools, AI tools. I don't need I sit in them now. And in the past I have a team, right? To get a contract ready for me, and now I don't need them. So I transfer this position to a different department in the company. So that's something like I didn't know that 1 or 2 years ago, right? It just happened recently. So that's why we need to get our kids ready, and plus they have to be a learner for life, right? A good learner for life. Like me, my experience, I get my education in firstly in electrical engineering, and then is automation, and then robotics. So I have training basically dealing with software, hardware, and the whole system. So that's why after I get my education down, and I went to the medical device industry, because I have some basic training, right? So that's why basic training it's very important. So that's why now for our kids, they need to get the current training down, and then they need to pick up a good direction to get a higher education, like a PhD, right? And they'll require like a learning for life. So that's my very last comment. Is learning for life. They have to have the skills, have the desire, to learn every day. Even for me, I have learning, like I'm learning every day.
Thank you. That's a fascinating take. I couldn't agree more. I'm sure everybody in this room can agree more, right? We are cultivating lifelong learners who will potentially be the leaders of the future international world. And of course, we are working as a team now, as a team in the classroom. But tomorrow, our kids will be working with maybe 10 or millions kinds of AI tools, and there will they will be their teammates in the future. So it's very important to teach them not only to communicate with people, but also how to communicate, cultivate, communicate, and collaborate with the AI tools, with the future unknown, unperceivable. So thank you very much, Dr. Li. Now shifting to the front lines of life science and biotechnology, let's welcome Dr. Ren Xu. So as the CSO of Dylanix Bioworks and CureVac, how would you foresee AI impacting the field of life science and biotechnology, particularly in vaccine industry?
Thank you. Thank you for the Wellington School also invite me to here and share some of my thoughts on this AI to affect of the education part. So my background is I come from medical schools, and then but my whole career working on over 20 years on the vaccine research and development. As I see as I like working more on like innovation on the science and life science and also vaccine discovery. So I saw the AI is dramatically to change the life science innovation and the research. And AI can do so many things and so quick and efficiently help the drug development to get much quicker, accelerate of the development. So for example, so when we working on the vaccine or drug, we have to discover first the target and antigen identification and where the vaccine can go. Like everybody know the COVID-19, and we know that the vaccine have to be choosing the right target to work on and to produce all the memory response to this target. So where the good target to, and if you found the good target, then your vaccine will work really efficiently. So AI can help now is because AI can using the database, the huge amount of database collection, and quickly to searching for you from this database to according your questions and your requirement to get some of answer for you. So this is AI can working now acceleration of one of these key questions where the right antigen you can get. And then we also has using AI to like make an artificial system, and you do not need to go to the animals. You do not go to the humans. You can using this artificial modeling, you know, to make it. And then the model can test your product and to give you some data, which without even go to the long-term research on the animals over, months and to human over years to get the result. So like we know the vaccine, we're dealing with a lot of the immunologies and immune system. The immune system, everybody know that you have an immune system. That's why you get infection and you fighting with the infection. So immune system is very complicated, and until now we still not totally understand. So this complexity of this system really help the AI help a lot, because they're using huge data to help you to try to analyze your result and the summary of your data, and that help you get the result quickly as well, and accuracy, better accuracy. So as like yesterday, and I think the FDA just to announced that they removed the animal the study for safety of the drug, and encourage you use AI driven the data analysis and artificial organs, and to do the testing, drug safety testing. So this is one thing is save all animals' life and save a lot of work. Another thing also cost. Another thing is accelerate of your data. I think the AI really markedly affect. And beyond that, we go to any clinical trial. All the medicine go to clinical trial. Clinical trial is long, mostly more expensive, and also long term in the drug development. Now the AI can accelerate the clinical trial enrollment and data and biomarker identification, all these things. So I cannot really ending off how many AI can really help on the life science part. So I cannot remember. Do you have a next question about AI beyond the innovation?
Yeah, yeah. That was very eye-opening, actually, because we all care about our immune system, right? And so I guess being a scientist in the past few years, when we did our, I think many of you will agree, when we did our masters and PhDs, the most troubling thing was data. Every time we talk about data, we're like, oh no, data, we're going to do data again. But your sharing was very eye-opening that now a lot of data is run through the AI system. So being a scientist for tomorrow, it will be very different. So what do you think schools can do to cultivate future scientists?
Yeah. So I think this is a very, very important question, and also that's why we are here to try to figure it out. I think it's AI changed the world, and change the world to request what kind of your skill and you need to fit to the future, what the world needs. So before our education system, when we were young, and what we learned is we accumulate knowledge, accumulate informations, because that time we don't have computer system, we don't have AI, right? So we teaching the kids, we learn, study the book, and we have to remember the knowledge. Like I come from medical school, so I have to remember all this information in order to pass the exam. So not many people want to go to medical school because we have to remember so many things. But now with AI, you probably do not need to remember all the things. You open the AI, ask questions, answer you second. So that part is removed, I think, from the pressure of the kids to really in the future what they really focus need. But I think what question you ask to AI, that's important. Like data was there in the computer, but whether you ask the right question, and that's very important. How you ask that question, that's important. So I think the kids need to learn, and we all have to learn, and what questions we want to come up from life to want to address. So I think the curiosity for the kids is important. So they need to know whether the interesting to resolve problem, where the problem come from, which question they want to ask. So that's I think for kids, the one very important. So they have to interaction with the social, with the community, with all the peoples, and to try to figure out what questions they are still remain, and I need to answer. I need to help people. I need to help this world to what is that question. And then another thing is the ability and the capacity. I think that's the AI cannot help you much. I mean, they can provide you data, provide you information, but the ability, which is like multiple things, I think, like we're talking about like, self-learning, okay, and the experiment, hands-on things. I think all this ability to leadership, and these things the kids need to really to be educated, trained on that part in order to meet in the future of the world. Maybe it's not AI issue. Maybe it's another thing. So they're coming. So the world was changed so fast. So but they have to be strong and to know how to deal with this fast change of the world. And I think that's also in the education part need to be.
Thank you very much. Can we have a round of applause, please, for Dr. Xu? I think you have perfectly highlighted the importance of the true curiosity in children, the ability to ask good questions. So Professor Zhao Yun, yesterday, he was sharing that the PBL learning, you must all be familiar with PBL, right? The PBL learning that we are doing today is not the true PBL, it's not the true exploration, because we are giving children the topic. But what is the topic that was exploring, that was their passion? That's the question we need to ask next. So I think Dr. Xu, you have really highlighted that. Thank you very much. Actually, we have touched on this a little bit about, when you talk about doing experiments with the animals. With the advancement of AI, we can never avoid the topic of ethics, of the moral side of it. So as we harness technology, how do we preserve the ethical and cultural wisdom? To answer this, I invite Professor Imre Galambos to discuss the enduring role of humanities. So, Professor Galambos, considering your extensive background in humanities, how can traditional humanities subjects contribute to cultivating skills that AI cannot replicate?
Okay. Well, first of all, I think AI can replicate lots of skills in the humanities as well, and it's very useful in the humanities. Obviously, AI is about, well, partly about pattern recognition, and this is, you can do this on text. You can feed enormous amounts of text into AI systems and then analyze them in various ways. So this is what people doing philology or something have been doing in the past, and AI can help with that. But I also think there are things that we can still do, that humans can do in addition to AI. So obviously in the humanities, you're dealing with mostly with the past, or you're dealing with literature, you're dealing with text, cultural information, history, these kind of things. And then in this area, I think the human mind is maybe different from AI, because we can perceive, well, at this point, I think, at least we can perceive much more subtle differences that are meaningful for us, and maybe for an AI system, they would not be that meaningful. So I'm thinking about using a different word in a poem, or just appreciating a poem, right? Or understanding what makes one poem better. Or it doesn't have to be a poem, it can be like a lyric of a modern song. One of them becomes a success and the other one doesn't. And so how do you compare these? I mean, these kind of things, I think humans can do better than AI systems. And this is probably going to go be the same in the future. But I also understand that AI systems are developing, so they can, as far as we can name the problems, then we can train AI to deal with them. But there are also many things that we cannot train AI on, I think, because we don't realize them ourselves. So authenticating artifacts, for example. So you can, without doing scientific analysis, just by looking at a picture, a human expert quite often can determine whether this is an authentic, I don't know, Song period bronze or not. And an AI system would, unless it has that information or background, it would have a difficulty with that.
Thank you very much. That's very inspiring. Can we have a round of applause, please? Thank you. Yeah, I think you have highlighted that the judgment, the human judgment, the feelings when we read a story from history, a piece of literature, that's something that AI cannot replicate. And that's where, as educators, we need to cultivate our pupils. You need to feel for yourself. You need to think for yourself. The process of this all matters most. And to follow up on this, as a scholar deeply engaged in both Western and Eastern cultural studies, how important is cultural intelligence in the AI era?
Well, it's not just the AI era, right? It's in any period in history. I think it's very important, because our history is, and our culture is our identity. So it determines who we are, and it has, like, every time we move into a new system, historically or politically, we reinterpret the past. And so the past is changing together with us, and it kind of, by reinterpreting it, we're hoping that the next generation will learn these values the way we want them to learn them. So these systems of, like, cultural systems, they are essentially, they're important on the identity level. They determine who we are. Like, it's an ontological background for us functioning as a society, as a people. So that's extremely important, I think. And there's also, of course, emotional intelligence embedded in this. Again, you can think about the arts that are connected to culture. So there also, humans are predictably or unpredictably, they would behave differently from machine learning systems.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think this morning, the keynote speaker, Dr. Yung, he shared with us a piece of research from Howard Gardner about multi-intelligence. I think Professor Gallimbosch, you also mentioned about everybody being different, you might have this taste in art and your different understanding for poem or literature. So for our pupils, it is very important that they are encouraged to discover their own multi-intelligence. Everybody's pattern will be different, but AI can only read the same patterns, the amount of patterns they can read. So thank you very much for that. With these pillars in mind, let's now open the floor to all of our panelists, because we are all parents after all. So as a parent, we can share our own experience at home. So as a parent, how do we support our own children to prepare for the future changes? Maybe we can start from lady first.
That's a really challenging question now for us, right? So I even don't know what what AI the world can change our own, and then we have to prepare for our children, and we also don't know in 20 years what the world will be ending with. Like so, their life in the 20, 30, 45 years, 50 years, what could happen? So I think, as I just mentioned before, I think the key the thing they have to do is really the build up their ability to really stand up by themselves to meet whatever the world will be bringing in the future. So for the parents, one thing, of course, the intelligence, I mean, what talent they belong to, what they have, that's the first when you have kids. Maybe I remember when my daughter born, like very young, like 3, 4, and I'm wondering what she could be, good on it, what she's talented on it. So for parents first thinking on that question, so what I can discover, how we can discover that, right? So I think what we can do is we give them opportunity, and we bring up to them to see the world and to explore to the world. And so I think a lot of parents can do. We can bring them go maybe to, if you not can traveling world, but you can travel in cities, or communities, social world. I mean, let them to know the world, and let them to meet all the things which they could to experience it. So then maybe during that time, they will figure out, you will figure out what they are good on it. So that's important for help them. And then another thing is to help them, if I can help them, if when they are interested on something, encourage them to let them develop on that part. I think that's also we can do, I mean, for the kids, because you cannot to try to training your kids to go to the directly as you want them to. I think that there are a lot of parents may be lost on that. So I think this is better than another. This is better for you, and you want to design their futures, their life. I think that might be a lot of them won't be work. So that might be also my personal way to teaching. I mean, training my kids. But I think for really to meet the AI. I mean, another thing I could be expected from parents or from teacher, and I let them to learn. To add in more knowledge to current the world. I would say the current world. And right now this AI come out, all the tools come out. So learn how this using these tools, right, to help them on their study, help them on their daily life. But in the future, I think they still depend on their self to catch up the world change. And the self-learning is really important. And the independent thinking, I think, is important, because you cannot all follow other people's to speak. So I think that's also important. Okay, thank you.
I think we have captured the complexity of being a parent, because we just touched on a lot of topics, actually. But I can't agree more on we need to help our pupils to explore the world. We always say that we need to tell them how to make a choice, how to quit. But first of all, we need to present the choices to them so that they can choose from. And that's where we need our wisdom as a parent. So thank you very much, Dr. Xu. Other parents?
I think the biggest problem for our kids right now is the mental health problem. I think The reason for this kind of problem is we spend less time with our children. Maybe because of you really busy for your work, or you are, being far away. Like with my daughter, I'm being quite far away from her. I think school education actually play a very big role in this kind of things. Children go to the school. It's really good for them, good for their mental health. I remember during the pandemic, the whole community stopped. They paused because the school stopped. So we cannot send our children to the school, and we have to look after them at home, during the work time, 9 to 5. It's a big challenge for us. So I think the parents also playing a very crucial role in education system as well. Don't forget, you are the first educator for your children. Okay, so the most important thing is you have to play this role continuously. You cannot stop as a parent. Sometimes what we forget, after we sending our children to the school, we forget we are also the educator. So we say, this is your job. You are the teacher, you are the school. You teach our children. If our children exam, it's really bad, it's your fault. It's not. It's partly it's parents' fault as well. I think what the parents really need to do, also for myself, is spending more time with your children. Even because I had a very good experience with my daughter. What happened is my daughter is not really good at biology. Okay, so my wife thought this is my job, and you teach your daughter to study biology. And yes, I did. I didn't do much. I just stay with her. Okay, she know what to do. She got textbook, and she got all the key points being given by the teachers, and she just do the study. What I did is just being part of her, just sit next to her, and that makes really big sense. It's really good for her study and also really good for her mental health, because she now realized the parents is next to her. I think that's really important, because I don't think AI could really change the whole society. I don't think AI really will say, make you lose your job, that kind of thing. Also, like make your children, miserable in the future. I don't think it will happen in that way. What really happened is the parents playing their smartphone all the time, and the children playing their smartphone all the time. So there's a huge gap between the parents and the children. So that's a real problem for the society. It will become a huge problem because now the communication stopped or being interpreted by, this. It's not the problem of technology. It's the problem of communication. It's a problem like the parents think, my kid's playing, computer game, playing smartphone, so I have to stop her. Then the arguments start. You know that. So but actually, it's you playing the smartphone first, and you send your kids to play smartphone. So that's the key problem. I think we're not actually dealing the AI. We're dealing with ourselves. So that's the key thing. So as the parents, I suggest that every parent to think about spending more time playing together with your children. So some people ask me, what are you going to do with your children? Because AI is everywhere. Like in our lab, we use AI to do, like Ron said, just to do the drug design, to do the experiment. We have the dry lab and the white lab as well. But I think for my case, the most important thing is to teach her how to cook. So that's why is the cooking, because cooking is a therapy, and also gardening as well. So it's the way to live, basically. And spending more time with our children. So I say it's really key points for the parents. I mean, you don't give the job, this is your job. You don't give that to the teacher. Teacher won't, live with your kids. They only, stay in the school, yeah. So that's the thing that I want to share.
Thank you so much. I think a lot of these resonate with every one of us, right, as parents and educators. It's about building the relationship.
Absolutely.
AI can replicate, replace a lot of skills that we currently have, but they can never replicate or replace the deep connection, the real interpersonal connection between us with our children. And by the way, it's really surprising to hear that the whole community just stopped when the school stops. We never know we are this important.
Of course, yeah. The school playing the key part in the community. The whole, at least in the UK, the reason of the society is the reason of the school. You know that because even the prime minister need to send the kids to the school. So if he cannot work, the whole society cannot work. So that's the reason.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we just realize how important we are as guys keep working.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you very much. Professor Galamos or Dr. Lee, would you like to share?
Okay. What was the question?
Here is where we need AI, right? Yeah, so as a parent, how do you cultivate the skills that can only
Yeah.
replicate? Yeah.
So I completely agree with this. And my own impression is that basically I try,